Hi, everyone. Welcome to day two of the Power Shift Summit. I am your host, Natalie Jobity, founder and creator of the Power Shift Summit and founder of the Unveiled Way. I am here with my coach and guide, Jocelyn Starfeather. So, just so that you know a little bit more about Jocelyn, I'll read a paragraph from her bio. So, Jocelyn Starfeather is a visibility and thought leadership coach for visionary entrepreneurs, spiritual alchemist, astrologer, and founder of Sacred Planet. She shares shamanic and ancient wisdom to guide courageous seekers in co-creating a revolutionary new world in alignment with Mother Earth and in the vast intelligence of the cosmos. So before we get started, and I want to share a little bit more about Jocelyn in a minute, if you're tuning in, put in the chat where you're zooming in from. We'd love to hear from you. So this is a webinar, so we can't see you, but we hope people are here just participating in the summit. I have to just say I'm excited for what I hope my intention for this summit is that people will really get a shift in the way they think, the shift in the way they see things that will give them the momentum and motivation to take aligned action, whatever that means, right? So there is definitely a vibe of this summit, and it's about go, 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 do, you. So I want to just share that this summit has been one of the biggest, I think it is the biggest thing I've done in my business in terms of putting myself out there. And Jocelyn has been my guide and coach for the past almost 5 months, helping me to put my first summit out, getting my first summit off the ground. It's so much behind the scenes work. I had no idea. I'm so glad I worked with her. And I just want to say, because we both shared this, and I've learned a lot about her in the process, we're both introverts. So Jocelyn and I are both introverts. And when I say that out loud, people don't look at me like if I'm kidding, but I am so not kidding. I am a capital I introvert. And here I am doing this huge thing with collaboration, other thought leaders, putting it out here on social media. I mean, everywhere. I mean, it's like in the echo chambers of the world, whoever wants to see and be in here I am doing this thing. And why am I doing it? It's about my visibility, about my influence. And Jocelyn, um, you can say something, Jocelyn. Say hi.
Hi, everybody. And hi, Natalie. I'm so glad to be on here with you. And yeah, we're gonna just dive into this topic of visibility. And yeah, it's gonna be a really fun conversation. So welcome in everybody. Can't
Hi.
wait to see who's here.
So what I want to share is that Jocelyn, who is also an introvert, her work as she calls herself a visibility coach for a reason, because one of her missions is to get people to be in alignment with their mission and vision and get themselves out there, whether it's launching a business, whether it's launching a summit. And Jocelyn has a YouTube channel with thousands and thousands of followers. She's doing YouTubes almost every week. I think you're always on there doing something. She is out here on camera in live so many times. And Jocelyn, I guess I want us to talk about, I hear this excuse, "Oh, I'm an introvert, I don't want to be out here." And I want to just reframe and reposition that in people's mind who were listening, that it ain't about introversion.
Yeah. Yes, it's such a fascinating thing, and the people that I coach are all introverts. I mean, all my clients are introverts, empaths, intuitives, these are women who are deeply connected to themselves and the world around them and know they have a big purpose, and that is the biggest hurdle of all, is visibility. And so it's so funny. I always tell everybody that, yeah, I do all these YouTube lives. I probably do a YouTube live a week, like you said, Natalie. It's so crazy. And I wasn't always doing this, but I'm at home now on these YouTube lives, and it's a learned skill. It's like any other skill that we can learn and we get more comfortable with over time. If you were to see me at a party, I'm the quiet one sitting on the end of the couch, like not sure what to say, but put me on a YouTube live and I'm good. But I wasn't always like this. It's really so fascinating how we change and how we evolve. And I think the call of our soul, right? The call of our purpose and our gifts and our inner knowing that we're here to bring something to the world. We're here to help people. We're here to change the world. That is the impetus. That is the motivation to help us rise into visibility, because it's kind of like whatever fears we may have are like nothing compared to the feeling of actually getting our work and our gifts out there into the world. It's always worth it.
Yes, it's so great you just shared that because so I just did a presentation for United Way last week, and one of two presentations. One was about visibility, and in that visibility presentation, I challenged ladies there who were introverts and who were afraid to speak out and speak up. And I had somebody really talking about how they have this idea in their minds, but they were scared to put it out there. And so they have this great vision, but there was and the real here's the reality, which we just need to put out there. There are consequences, good and bad. But I challenged one of the person who was sharing about this leadership thing she wants to put out there, but hasn't put it out there yet. It's all in her mind. Which would you rather, to be comfortable and not put it out there, or to have some risk of consequences, which we don't know what they will be, but certainly knowing that you did your thing, you were in alignment with your mission vision, and you made an impact? Which would you prefer? The comfort and not doing it and regretting later in life, or maybe no backlash or consequences at all, but only good stuff? Like we can't control that stuff, but what we can control and what we can do is take aligned action and follow the call of our heart. We are all, and I'm about women, as you know, Jocelyn works with everybody. I'm woman focused mostly. And I want to say for women now listening that we are needed. And Jocelyn says these things too. So that's why we do here partnering together. Our voices, our vision, our innovation, our creativity, our brilliance is needed right now in this time, in this period of life, in this momentous time in US history. And if we are so scared that we don't take action, we don't get to inspire others, we don't get our voices out there, we don't get to make our mission vision reality. Justin, speak more, because I feel like this is what I wanted
Yeah.
everybody to hear.
Yeah, it's so important. And yes, the thing is that women are leading the way in how we know we need to change the world. I mean, we all know we need to change the world. We all know that there are so many things, politically, government, environmentally, educationally, health-wise, like there's so many ways that our world needs to change. And what I see everywhere, all around the world, on every continent, is women rising up to speak about what is really needed and how can we make these changes. So it's fascinating. It's fascinating to see that because we're coming out of this age where we've seen, the men have put themselves in the position to be leaders. And this is also not about men, women,
Right.
like against each other in any way, but it's just so powerful to see how the paradigms are shifting and women are rising up.
Yes.
There's just this call, and that feminine presence is so needed. And I think those of us who are introverts, who feel so deeply, who have such a strong intuitive guidance within us, that is what the world needs more than anything. It's like that's the paradigm breaker, is when
Yes.
those of us with these qualities speak up.
The paradigm breaker. I don't know if you've ever used that term before, but I
I
love
don't
it.
know if I have.
The paradigm breaker. And you said something I wrote down too, the feminine presence, which is why for the women listening, tuning in, watching the replay, whatever, our presence, because we bring a different vibe to any leadership role, to any business endeavor, to any initiative than our male counterparts. And we know in corporate America, there's like whatever, 2% of women in CEO positions in 41. I mean, it's ridiculous how low the numbers are, but here we are. It's time to shift the field, shift the perspectives, shift the power. So let's get into a little bit of the power conversation, Jocelyn, which is, and I know this because it's real, the word power can be so triggering and scary for women because it's associated with a lot of the patriarchal structures that we've been conditioned to believe is powerful.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I have something really strong to say about that. I'll say it. So if we were to go back 5,000 years, 7,000 years, 10,000 years, what do we see in the historical evidence that we have? It's that the women held the power because women create new life. Right. And these ancient cultures and indigenous cultures still today know that life is sacred and we place life at the center and we place life as our top priority. So what's interesting is that over time, there seems to have been this dynamic where those who wanted to be in charge, who in the, 3,000 years ago or whatever, were mostly men, and they very, purposefully in a lot of ways took the power away from the women. We have a lot of things in our history, witch burnings, all kinds of events that were taking the power away from the women. And so we've arrived at this time right now where we feel like the power is held in the hands of the patriarchy, but that is an illusion. That is false. The power is still within us, within every cell of our bodies as women, within what we've been talking about, our intuition, our visionary nature, because that's what women naturally hold, is this intuitive connection with all that is. And so again, I'm back to like paradigm breaking. Like this is the change that we need. And I just invite us all into maybe a recognition that women hold the true power. Women hold the power of the earth, women hold the power of life. I mean, and these are fundamental principles that go far beyond what any government could do or what any corporation can do. Right. And I think this is part of this awakening that's happening around the world right now, is realizing what is true power? What is true?
Yeah. And so guess what? Part of the Power Shift Summit is giving us as women the opportunity to redefine, reclaim what power truly is. And one of the themes that have come up a lot in my discussions and sessions and interviews with other women and speakers here is that, you know, that hierarchical positional authority that has become the norm of power, that has gone so far, and it literally at the point where it's like it's not working anymore. People are not happy in their roles. People are, leaving jobs to form their own business because they're like, I'm sick of this toxic environment. I'm not saying they're not great places out here, but there's so many that we just think this is the way it has to be. I gotta grind, I gotta hustle, I gotta do all this stuff. And as the leaders of this new birthing, let's put it that way, of feminine energy, we get to redefine power. And as empaths, intuitives, womb uh, uh, carriers, like all the energy that we carry that is different from men, we get to say, this is what power looks like for me. And I know, like, so power doesn't have to mean control. That's one of the first words I know that comes up: control, bossy, all this stuff. Power
Yeah.
can be gentle, kind, and humble. Power, but power is influence. It's impact. It's having authority. And it's about saying, well, when I'm feeling powerful, what does that make? How do I feel? And how do I bring that forward in my endeavors, whether it's in my career or in my business? When I am in that powerful poise, that powerful energy, that feeling of, okay, I have the authority, the agency, the influence, the impact to make who am I being? And is it anything like what I think power is?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And, I think an important part of our power as well is being able to be grounded and centered in ourselves, right? Being able to know, like, I hear my intuition, I know my purpose, and it doesn't matter all that's like swirling out here, what other people may say, what events may be going on in the world, but I'm clear and strong here in the center. There is
Yeah.
deep, deep power in that. And when we're creating from that place, there's no limit, you know?
Limitless.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is a big piece because it ties into visibility, because so much of our fear of visibility is like, well, what will my friends think? What will my family say? What will my coworkers say about this? When I started my business, I had my personal Facebook page that was, all my corporate friends were on there. And then I started my business Sacred page, or a Sacred Planet Facebook page, and never the two could meet because, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine what would happen if they saw that. Right. So there's this like, this fear around what will people think? And when we break through that, it's really powerful. It's
So this
really,
is what Jocelyn did, and Jocelyn shared a little bit of a story in our interview, which was on day one. And if you haven't watched that yet, you really want to get that, because watch that, because she was in finance, very corporate, very conservative industry, and after 15 years, broke away from that to become her own boss and to bring out this whole different vibe of a business that was so different from what she was in her role. And as an introvert. But so again, that's why I just love Jocelyn's story, because it's somebody who's like, well, I don't care how introverted I am. I don't care how I feel. I'm in alignment. Feel so strongly about my purpose and mission. I'm going to take those aligned action. And that's how I am too. That's why I do what I do as an immigrant in this country. Like when I left, so mine is a way back. I mean, I started my first business in 2007, left my very comfortable, as I was VP at the time in market research in the finance sector too. Actually, that was my degrees in that, and just decided to like do a whole pivot, not just a business, but image consulting. Like, wait, what? Like, people thought I was nuts. I know they thought I was nuts, and I was just like, and then we were in the middle of a recession in this country in 2008. And I'm there launching a business in the worst time in my life, but I wasn't even paying attention to any of that stuff. I was committed to the vision I had for women back then, as I am now in a different way. But I'm saying, like, I have been on TV. I did so many things. Talk about stretching myself out of my comfort zone to be visible, to get my message and my branding out there on TV, being interviewed. Like the first time I tell that story where I actually got lost, I literally like ran into the studio and was like, and then I was on camera for the first, and I was like, I got no idea what's happening here. And it was live. And it was like insane. But there I was doing these very visibly challenging things, not because I want to be like, oh my God, put me on TV camera. No, because I have to get my brand, my message, so that the people I meant to serve can hear me. And we know that's the point, in visibility, Jocelyn.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. What you did and are still doing, it takes so much courage. So I just want to honor that, and honor your journey, Natalie. It's so beautiful. And having the courage to like leap off those cliffs and not know what's on the other side, but to really trust your own inner
Yeah.
guidance system. It's just amazing. And it's an inspiration. I invite everybody out there to tune into that, right? That kind of courage.
And
And
what does your
that leads
knowing
to outcomes.
know? What does your knowing know about what you're called to do? And are you trusting your knowing? Because that's something we talk about a lot in these interviews at the Power Shift Summit, is that one of our gifts as women is intuition, but so many of us, myself included, for a long time, had no idea I had those gifts, didn't know how to tap into them, was getting the guidance, but then ignoring it. So it's like, like, and I have a couple of speakers who are actually sharing gifts that have to do with intuition. Dr. Marie is one from yesterday, which is like, what is my knowing know? And and if I'm scared, what am I scared about? And what matters to me more? So if you're listening and watching, I guess a question I want to ask you is, how comfortable are you being uncomfortable in service to your mission? How comfortable are you being uncomfortable in service to your
I
vision?
love that question. That's a really powerful question. That's one to journal on, everybody. That can go really deep.
Yes. And it's funny, when I have to share, when I gave my presentation last week, oh my God, at the end, I was like, share some stories. And then somebody got up from Australia, and she was one of the few that was from out of the country in that event, the conference. And I mean, she had a whole thing she was sharing. She was tearing up. She said, I haven't even talked about this. She shared something that she hadn't even spoken out loud to anybody else, to do with her business vision. That was a big deal, and that could actually have erased her brand from the being in the forefront as it was. She was doing huge things. And my God, I was like, wow, look at what happens when we start having these conversations. I had another woman another from out of the country, another one, who was sharing that she did all these grants, she'd written all these grants, but wasn't taking credit, wasn't putting herself out there to say, I have done this. And her social media person was like, why aren't you putting yourself in the forefront? She was like, oh, because I'm just the thousands and I think millions of dollars of grants she's gotten for anyway. So she got up and said, I'm going to commit to putting myself out. I mean, I'm saying, just from having this conversation around visibility, women can take aligned action, because guess what? We're all feeling it. We all know what you're dealing with. Jocelyn and I have been through it. I'm still going through it. But here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're always at different levels of our evolution on it. I'm still going through it too, you know. Um, and so, you know, this part about courage is so important. And that part about, you know, what is really most important to you? And what do you want to build your life around going forward? You know, because we each get to choose, we each get to create what is right for us. We do not have to settle for any of the limitations that we've been told all our lives. That was such a big part of my story, is like I did everything that everybody told me to. I got the bachelor's degree, I got the master's degree, I got married, I got the great job, I got another great, you know, but my soul was calling out for, no, this is not the right thing. So you get to choose, you know, take this moment in time, everybody listening and attending this amazing event, the Power Shift Summit. Oh my gosh, what an amazing opportunity to just take this moment and claim it as the moment that you're choosing something new for your life, and you
Mm.
just opening your heart to what that new roadmap will be. All these speakers are going to be inspiring you about that. Natalie's going to be inspiring you about that. What an incredible moment. Just choose it right now, you know, just saying yes right in this moment. It can change your whole trajectory going forward.
Yes, say yes in this moment that I choose to, you fill in the blank. You fill in the blank.
Yes.
Yeah. And
I love it.
so back to visibility and power, because it's funny. So I actually just made the connection as you know, it's so funny when you're in the middle of something and you're hearing all these ideas and thoughts, your mind starts to go, wait a second, I didn't see it that way before, but here I am. Okay, yes, I see somebody in the chat. Yes, I choose me. Come
Yes,
on.
that's great.
Denise. Um, Yes, and choose you and how you want to live your life on your terms, with your guardrails, with your parameters, with your perspectives, with your position. I'm always doing P's. You know, choose how you do it. And so visibility in terms of the definition is all about being seen and being acknowledged and being getting attention, and that's the getting attention part is what could be scary for women, getting attention. And I'll have to add this point because I think it's important. That could feel like objectification. Oh, there's my cousin Wendy Jeremy from Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh, beautiful.
It could feel like objectification to get attention because as women, a lot of times the attention we've gotten has been from the male gaze. And so Jocelyn has to leave in like 5 minutes. I'm gonna make sure I don't let her finish up. But like I wrote this thing and I want to just read it. So so we all know that quote. A lot of us know that quote from Marion Williamson. And it's the first few words I realized just got me recently. So it's like, I could say I don't have to read it. Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. And I've known that quote for like 30 plus years. I know it by heart. But for the first time since I've been doing this summit, those first two lines of that quote, we are our deepest fear, ladies, is that we are powerful beyond measure. Let
Mm.
that sink in. What does that make you think and feel? Like, wait, I think my deepest fear is that I'm not good enough. And it's actually no, the opposite. It's like, no, I'm really magnificent, powerful.
Yeah. Because our inner knowing already knows that, right? Isn't that fascinating? I love that quote. I'm so
That's
glad.
a game changer right there. Like to be honest with yourself, like, what are you scared about? Feeling inadequate or feeling like a powerhouse? And if it's the latter, what can you do to lean into that part of who you really are? Yes, I see that Denise choosing powerful beyond measure. And this is not an ego-based, nothing I ever say or speak on. I also to say this is never about ego, pride, boasting, any of that. It's about channeling who I am meant to be, who you're meant to be in your full brilliance, in your full magnificence. And that means expertise, power, strengths, gifts, or knowledge, wisdom, all the things that make you you. In my presentation yesterday, I spoke, oh gosh, Jocelyn, time. Okay, my presentation yesterday, I spoke about how we all have over 60% of water inside of us. Water is a powerful force of nature. And I said, what if you were to think about if I were to channel all the water inside of my body, literally inside my body, like, would it look like a waterfall, a river, a stream, an ocean, a droplet? And even if it's a droplet, there's power in a droplet. Speak,
Amen.
Jocelyn. I want you to share
There's
something.
power in a droplet. Yes. Yeah. I just want to say that if you're in a gathering, the most powerful person in the room can be the quietest person, right? So it's like you don't subscribe to anybody else's image or version of power either. Let it be your natural version of your own power and how that wants to be expressed and how that wants to come through creatively, with fun, with joy. Um, make it fun, make it exciting. I know this is such a big part of what you do, Natalie, as the Brilliance Unveiler, is like really helping women get in touch with their inner knowing, their inner calling, their passion, right? And their
And
joy.
their gifts. I mean, I feel like it's the gifts part, the expertise part, like all those things, like I call them the S's: strength, superpower, sizzle, all the things. Jocelyn has to leave in 2 minutes, but I will continue on for a while after her. Just want to give you all a heads up. But Jocelyn, any last words you want to share before you leave on your perspective on the importance of visibility and how it helps us become more powerful?
Yeah, definitely. Well, so it's so important for each of us as women to really claim our power in the world right now. Because as we talked about at the beginning, the world needs us. The world really needs us. It's an all hands on deck kind of time right now. So, like you said, Natalie, this is not about ego. This is about bringing our gifts, right? And we get to have fun and excitement and adventure along the way. But this is about our service to the bigger picture of the world, the human collective, our earth collective, you know. So don't hold back. Don't hold back. It's so important to bring our gifts forward. And really, you guys did this already, but really claim it today. Really claim what your power is. And visibility is so important because it allows people to find us. It allows people to discover us. And think about it this way too. There are people, each of you listening, you have your gifts. You know what your talents are, or your healing abilities, or your intellect, or whatever you bring, right? And there are people out there in the world just waiting for you. They don't know who you are yet, but they're like, wow, I just really need this person that will bring me this, or, I need to learn about that. And then when you show up in a YouTube video, or when you show up in an in-person workshop in their town, or whatever it might be, then they find you and they realize, wow, this is the person I was looking for. So
You
just,
become their answered prayer.
yeah, yes, exactly. Exactly. So keep that in mind and, claim it, claim your power, really tap into your courage. You can do it. You're going to make this happen. And Natalie's going to inspire you even more now, even after I leave.
I'll just have a few more minutes. I'll go. But thank you, Jocelyn, for coming on this live with me and being a speaker in the Power Shift Summit and being my coach. As I executed this first event. That was a lot of work, and with Jocelyn is so positive, encouraging, uplifting. If you want to launch your own summit, go seek Jocelyn out. But just FYI,
It's a lot of work. Yeah, it's a lot of moving pieces. You've done amazing with this summit, Natalie. I'm just so inspired by it and the amazing speakers you brought together. So thank you for all that you've done to create this. It's
thank
really
you,
beautiful.
Jocelyn. So I will just stay on for a few more minutes as Jocelyn leaves us. I wanted to share a few more points. Bye. About this power idea and why we need to channel that, wheel that wisely. So this whole idea of visibility and power. So when I think of what back to what Jocelyn was saying just now, if we're invisible, if we have no presence, if we're not out here, how are we making our impact? How are we doing the thing that we're meant to do? How are we making our voices heard? So what does out there mean for you? It can mean so many different things. It can mean speaking up. in a meeting. It can mean being on a panel. It can mean launching your own summit. It can mean writing your book. It can mean writing a blog post. It can mean starting a podcast. It can mean launching your business. It can mean visibility has so many ways of showing up. But at the end of the day, it's about you and your calling. What does that look like for you to put yourself out there? And how could you counteract the fears that come up the more you put yourself out there? So I could say that I know for me, there's also the fear of success, fear of failure paradigm thing I go through. Like if I'm doing something new, like writing, I have 2 books out there. Is my book going to be read? Is it going to be successful? That fear can sometimes make us not put it out there. But I have to say, I've done the both, and I have another one in my mind. I'm like, should I write my 3rd book? But it's not about the success or failure per se, even though we do care about that. At the end of the day, it's about, did I get it done? Did I achieve my mission vision? Did I at least take those steps to put my thought leadership, whatever it is you're putting out there, my brilliance, my expertise, my whatever, my knowledge, did I do those things? And am I satisfied with how I did them? At the end of the day, that's what matters. When I'm 80, 90 years old, am I going to be thinking about 12,000 people bought my book? No, I'm going to be thinking about, did I write it? Did I put it out there? We want our later stages in life to not have regret. If I don't, and if I don't put my thoughts, yes, Denise, who will? Who will? It's my perspective. So whatever visibility looks like for you, when that fear of what if I fail, or what if people think of me this way, because that voice will come up, because every time we are visible, our imposter will start to talk to us, and we will think it's the real us, but it's actually the imposter of us. It's the survival aspect of us. It's the scarcity mindset aspect of us that's talking, saying, you don't want to rub this person the wrong way. You don't want to offend this person, da, da, da. You don't want to be seen and not look this way. Whatever that voice is telling you, that is not your true voice. That is not your true wisdom. So when you are visible, be very mindful that the negative Nelly will start to talk, and you have to now start to reframe those thoughts into, but I want to, this is my call. I am confident that I can, whatever those words need to be. I'm a big believer in affirmations. I will deliver. I can thrive. I can successfully XYZ. You reframe those negative thoughts into positive, uplifting, encouraging ones for yourself, so that you are able to be as visible and vocal and valued as you are meant to be in your arena. Because at the end of the day, again, who doesn't want to be valued for what they bring? I talked about in my presentation last week about, do I rather being liked, or do I rather being valued for my contribution? Well, give me the value for my contribution every day. Yeah, that's fine. But if I'm not valued, I don't need that. Forget it, right? So I just want to close this conversation on visibility and power. And I want to just share some words I wrote down about this. I have 2 things I want to share and I want to read. So we each have ideas, expertise, abilities, strengths, and unique contributions to make in the world, no matter how large or small. Your people want to hear from you. They want to know your point of view, your perspectives, your position, your priorities. Yet many of us shy away from marketing ourselves or making shifts in our thinking or ways of being, even when we are unhappy or downright miserable where we are. But until you own your spotlight, you are depriving the world of your unique magnificence. Back to the Marianne Williamson's quote, we are powerful beyond measure. We are magnificent beings innately. But if we don't bring it out, let our light shine outwardly, nobody will see, and it won't be valued or appreciated. So visibility and power, it's about becoming aware of the ways, and you might want to think about this and reflect about this, because this is a big one I'm going to say right now. Becoming aware of the ways we reject our own power. We can reject our own power. I know because I've been there, done that in my past, not realizing I was doing it. But when we become more self-aware, am I actually rejecting and repelling my own power? Can you imagine what that does to you when you're doing that to yourself, far less other people doing it to you, which actually happens a lot in the workplace? So think and consider, are there ways that I am rejecting my own power? And then the other thing is, where are the spaces and places that make me afraid of being powerful? What environments make me go, ugh? And then think about, why is that? And how can you start to reposition how you think about that place, environment, space? And then the last big one here is, how willing and ready, back to what we said earlier, how willing and ready are you to accept and own your full power? You get to choose. We all have choices. You get to make your choice. And I hope that you will choose, back to what somebody said in the chat, yourself and what you bring and your value you have to offer the people you're meant to serve, impact, or influence. The Power Shift Summit is all about us being motivated and propelled and ignited to rise up in this very momentous time in history. These in this country, in the United States, and I have a global audience, but in the United States, next week is going to be very stressful and who knows what will happen next week. But even with whatever cray, I will say cray goes on, we have to stand, as Jocelyn was saying earlier, stand solidly in our truth and not let the consequences or circumstances around us negatively impact our propelling forward in our mission vision. And I didn't know the timing of the summit would be so interesting with the timing of things. But yes, let us not lose heart and let us keep committed and convicted about our endeavors and initiatives, whether it's a business, a role, a career, whatever, a nonprofit, whatever you are in, that we get to choose and we get to show up how we choose and we get to flip the script, change the narratives, and level up this playing field that we're all in into a new, more collective, generous, empathetic, for the good of all kind of a vibe, more than this divisive, constricted, just, what the vibe is. I don't have to say the words. So I'm sweating because I'm so excited right now, but I'll just leave with that. And I just say, please tune in. I mean, today's interviews are going to be amazing. Oh my gosh, we have Darla Ledoux, Heather Lynn, Berhander, and I will like jamming y'all. Y'all go want to miss that. And I'm forgetting one. Oh my gosh, my brain just went thing. But all the interviews today are going to be phenomenal. Tune in, everyone. I'm listening to them myself back, and I did them. I'm listening because I'm getting so many gems and so much inspiration. So I just pray and hope that you will just blossom and grow from attending my summit. Thank you. God bless. Bye-bye. Thank you.